Well, earlier this month, the Vatican formally rejected its doctrine of discovery. The papal decree, or bull, was declared centuries ago and was used to legitimize the seizure of indigenous lands, mostly in Africa and the Americas. Now, riddled with racial and religious superiority, it eventually insinuated its way into the more modern laws of the United States, Canada, and Latin America. It justified what today would commonly be judged as illegal land seizures and human rights abuses. And though it's taken centuries to repudiate, the Vatican statement says the decree has never been considered expressions of the Catholic faith. Last year, during a visit to the Canadian Arctic, Pope Francis apologized to First Nations people for the evil of the country's Catholic residential schools. Now, those schools became notorious for abuse and even murder of Canadian Indigenous children as they were forced to assimilate to white Catholic culture. Church doctrine also allowed Portugal and Spain to take territories in Africa and the rest of the Americas, and many argued it still informs government policy and laws in the United States. Here's a closer look.
The doctrine of discovery states that an explorer from a European Christian country can take ownership of any land they discover, regardless of any non-Christian inhabitants, and concede it to their home country. The papal bulls divided the world between Portugal and Spain, giving them free power, authority, and jurisdiction of every kind over all non-Christian lands. Most importantly, it gave them permission to enslave millions of people. The doctrine of discovery became a legal principle through a U.S. Supreme Court case in 1823. Two men bought same land, one purchased it from a Native American and the other from a federal government. The judge decided it did not belong to the Native American because it was never his to begin with. 65 years later, that decision was reflected in Canadian courts. The Supreme Court decided that land did not belong to Indigenous people because it became federal property when Europeans discovered it. Over hundreds of years, backed by the doctrine, precedents were set that led to the seizures of Indigenous lands and the displacement of Indigenous peoples.
I am touched by the way in which the document doesn't close the book. It doesn't attempt to say, and that's that, and we'll have no more of that, thank you.
You know what I'm saying? If you a gangster, between the ages of 10 and 35, you need to mount up and roll against who's really the enemy. Blacks are not really the enemy. You know what I'm saying? We get into it with each other. We handle the business. Any tribe is going to go through that. In Africa, the tribes fight each other based on different shit. Right now, it's a bigger enemy out here. We need to tend to him, not ourselves.